When I tell you this game is beyond close for me, words don't do it any justice. It's closer than close. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great week. Hope all of you having a great Wednesday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. Man, oh man, it's time for the LSU Tigers versus Texas A&M Aggies preview. I feel like this is a pretty big game, not just in the SEC, but in the entire landscape of college football, so therefore it deserves its own entirely separate preview video. To go along with that game, I'll also be previewing / predicting the Navy Notre Dame game. By the way, guys, that's a top 25 matchup. I know everybody has forgotten about Notre Dame since the Northern Illinois loss, but they still got a decent shot of making the playoff. To go on top of that, not only is Navy in the top 25, they're undefeated. Those are two games we're going to be talking about, and you know what? Now that I'm looking at it, why don't we just throw Oregon and Illinois in there as well so we have a trifecta? That sounds good to me. Hope you guys don't mind too much. First things first, let's start with Notre Dame and Navy. Ever since the disastrous and embarrassing loss to Northern Illinois, Notre Dame, all they've done is win. They have quietly been taking care of business. Although they have been playing spectacular teams, they're winning. They beat the crap out of Purdue, beat a solid Louisville team by 7 points, took care of Stanford, and handled business against Georgia Tech. On the flip side for Navy, they've just been steamrolling the competition. Have they played the best competition? Absolutely not, but they're 6-0. That's got to count for something, and I think Navy is a legit top 25 team. We know what Navy wants to do, and it's what they're going to do whether Notre Dame likes it or not. They're going to ground and pound. Navy's not going to try to pass a lot in this ballgame, and ironically enough, that is the recipe to success for beating Notre Dame. That's how Northern Illinois beat them, ground and pound. If Navy can jump out to an early 7-0 or 10-3 lead, they're going to have them right where they want them. But if Notre Dame jumps out early on Navy and they're up 14-0, 14-3, something along those lines, it's not going to be a good game for Navy. The line for this game is Notre Dame minus 13. I don't like that. I think it should be Notre Dame minus 6 or 7. I think it's going to be a one-score ball game. Navy doesn't have a stellar defense, so I'm looking forward to see that Notre Dame offense. Can they put up maybe 30, maybe potentially 40 points? Riley Leonard, he's been up and down this year, and I think this is a game where he needs to prove to the rest of the country, not just his fan base, that he's the guy. There's no need to talk about this anymore. We know what both teams got. We know what to expect. I'm going to take Notre Dame. I wouldn't be shocked if Navy pulls out this upset. I don't think anyone would be, but I'll take Notre Dame 31 to Navy's 24. Moving along here to a top 20 matchup, Illinois versus number 1 ranked Oregon. As where it stands right now, this is a huge line for a top 20 matchup. Oregon is favored by nearly 22 points. Similar to the Navy Notre Dame one, I don't understand that. Maybe some of y'all haven't been watching Oregon outside the Ohio State game, but they've sort of played down to competition this season. The Idaho game, the Boise State game, the UCLA game, and even Michigan State. Let's not beat around the bush. Oregon is the much better ball team, and they should win this game. Not even going to try to overcomplicate that. They got better players all across the board, and the better quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. But let me tell you something. Luke Altmaier, he is quietly having a stellar season. Listen to this. He has 15 touchdown passes to only 1 interception. That's pretty good if you got to ask me. He's on pace for 30 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. I firmly believe Illinois is a good football team, but for them to pull out this upset, they're going to need some help from Oregon. If Illinois wants to win, Oregon has got to, and this is a non-negotiable, Oregon has got to shoot themselves in the foot a couple of times, not even just once. We saw it in the Michigan State game. Dylan Gabriel had not 1 but 2 interceptions in the red zone. Illinois needs something like that to happen. To go on top of that, if Oregon does have a couple of turnovers, Illinois has got to capitalize. Outside of that, if Oregon doesn't turn the ball over and they play their C-plus game, they walk out of here with a win. Oregon's just too good, too big, too strong, too fast, too everything for Illinois. I don't see this turning into a blowout. I'm still not wrapping my head around why this is a 21-point spread. It just doesn't make too much sense to me. I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I'd be eating that line up. And since Oregon has played up to her competition and down to her competition, I think it's going to be closer than what a lot of people think. Do not sleep on Luke Altmaier. That dude can sling the rock. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, I have a hard time believing that Illinois defense is going to slow down this Oregon offense. Therefore, I will take Oregon in this matchup a little closer than what some people may think. I'll take Oregon 34, Illinois 21. Moving along here, though, to the main topic, the main encore, main reason you probably clicked onto this video. We got the LSU Tigers. Go Tigers, shouting at Ogeron. and the A&M Aggies. Where's game day this week? I haven't even checked. Are they at the, I don't know if this is correct, but I think I saw they're at Washington and Indiana. Is that correct? I have no idea where they're at, but this is, probably the best game this week. You got a top 15 matchup in the SEC. LSU and both A&M sit at the top of the SEC rankings. For those of you who don't know, Georgia is not at the top. Remember, they lost to, guess who, Alabama. Alabama has 2 losses in the SEC. There's only 2 undefeated teams in the conference. That's LSU and A&M. And when I say undefeated teams, let me clarify, I'm talking about in their conference games. A&M is 4-0 and LSU is 3-0, so something's got to give. One of these teams has to lose. As where it stands right now, I am looking at it, A&M is a 2.5-point favorite. And I'd say both teams are catching one another at a pretty bad time because, well, like we just talked about, they're undefeated in conference play. They're hitting their strides, and for that reason, that's why I think it should be a heck of a game and a heck of a matchup. I love seeing teams play when both of them are reaching their potential. A&M and LSU are doing just that. Although LSU is higher ranked, I think A&M has been slightly more impressive this season. I'm going to remind some of y'all, LSU is fortunate they don't have 3 losses. They got lucky in the South Carolina game with the officiating, and also that game against Ole Miss. Ole Miss just completely crapped that game away. LSU got, I guess you'd say, lucky again to win that one. I'm not trying to take anything away from LSU. It's just reality. They're fortunate to be where they are, and it doesn't matter how you got to 6-1. You're 6-1. On the flip side for A&M, they've really, in my humble opinion, been on cruise control. Florida game wasn't too competitive. The Arkansas game was arguably, it was their most competitive game in the SEC. Then they steamrolled Missouri and handled Mississippi State. The weird thing about A&M is we're past the halfway point of the regular season, and I don't know exactly who they are. They're not some really good defensive football team, and on the contrary, I have a hard time saying they're a really good offensive team. Quarterback play hasn't been elite this year due to Connor Wigman being banged up. He just hasn't gotten a rhythm. They do run the ball well, but all in all for their offense, they don't really scare me. On the flip side for LSU, there's no hidden secret about it. We know exactly who they are. They're a really good offensive team that has a slightly better defense than last year. I mean, it's last year's team, almost a carbon copy paste, but you got a better defense. And me saying they have a better defense is probably sugarcoating it because it's not like they have some top 15 defense. It's probably around, I don't know, top 35, top 40 maybe. The defense is okay, but they've still gotten diced up a couple times. But I'm going to go back to this. At least I know who LSU is, and I know what to expect. Let me put it to you like this. If Matt Be Great from the future came back into our present date and time, and he told me, sitting here right now talking to you guys, Matt, Texas A&M's only going to score 7 points in this ball game, I could believe that. On the contrary, if Matt Be Great from the future were to sit up here and tell present day Matt, LSU's only going to score 7 points in this ball game, no, I wouldn't believe that. I say that to say this. I could see a case and scenario where Texas A&M only scores 10 points, and I could see a case and scenario where they score 50 points. I don't know what's going to happen with their offense. As far as it goes for defense, well, look who they played. Florida, Arkansas, Mizzou, and State. Florida's offense when they played them was abysmal. Arkansas, well, they're Arkansas, Mizzou. We've seen how they looked, and then you got State. I think A&M as a collective unit is a good football team, but they're not great or they're not even really good. Let's talk about the quarterbacks, though. I personally believe LSU has the better quarterback, and it's not even close for me. I love me some Garrett Nussmeier. One of my favorite young quarterbacks in the SEC. Does he make some mistakes? Yes, but he makes up for them, and that's what I like about him. He's not scared to mess up. Connor Wigman has always rubbed me as a guy who, when he's on, but if he's off, he's a little timid, and I don't like that. On the flip side for Nussmeier, it doesn't matter if he threw 3 straight interceptions, he's still going to be slinging that rock. I like that a little bit more, so I do give LSU the edge there in quarterback play. But do I trust Nussmeier to lead his team into a hostile road environment and win a huge game in the SEC? Kind of. I know what you're probably sitting there saying, well, Matt, that didn't sound too confident, and yeah, it's not confident at all. That's why I didn't sound confident. When I tell you this game is beyond close for me, words don't do it any justice. It's closer than close. It's a coin flip. That's where I'm at with it. I like A&M, and I like LSU, but as where it stands right now, my guts tell me to roll with the Tigers. So therefore, I'm going to take LSU in this matchup, 27 to A&M's 23. Many other previews we're going to be doing, so be on the lookout for that. Let me know your thoughts down below. But